Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Video Production Helpline. Glad to be back with you all. The first thing, I have actually a question for you. Let me know how things are sounding right now. Doing something a little different. So normally, I use this microphone, which I'm still, not giving up on. I really enjoy it. It's very nice and boomy. You're not listening to it right now, though. But I am trying to use my shotgun microphone since this is my YouTube set, my traditional YouTube setup. So I'm curious what this sounds like compared to previous streams, but let me know if things sound okay. Way too hot. Oh my, you're right. Oh. Let's see. Let me switch it real quick. Let's do this. Let's turn this off. How about that? Is that better? All right, so I think I know what happened there. I did a quick, of course, I made the decision to change this like 2 minutes before I went live and was monitoring through QuickTime, and I think I was listening to another microphone. So now we're back to this microphone. Let me know if it sounds okay, because it looks good. So obviously, noob mistake, but we'll go with this microphone this time. And next week, you can tune in to find out to see if I got the other microphone switched over and see if that works. Yes, let me know if we're good. I think we're okay. Mic sounds great. Yes, much better. Good. Okay, let's dump the AirPods and let's get down to business. So thank you all for hanging out, and apologies for that audio issue at the top of the show. We've got a couple things really quickly to jump into before we start kicking things off. Oh no, I just realized something else is messed up. Rats. I screwed something else up. I changed this entire setup and I didn't test one last thing, so I can't quite show you my screen. But after this show, I'm going to be on another live stream over at Jem Schofield's channel, so I'm going to drop that in the chat now. I'll also do it at the end of the show, so if you want to continue to hang out, have a drink, which I have right here, and we will hang out. It'll be a good time. So, and by the way, with that show, we're going to be talking about the FX30 and crop sensors in general in depth. So if you really are into what's going on with crop sensors, that's what's up. Okay, so let us see here. Boy, oh boy, let's go ahead and dive straight into questions. So if you have a question, let me know in the comments below, and we're just going to start somewhere around here. Maybe Evan with his super chat, $2 Canadian donation. Thanks for all the content you're creating. Thank you so much for the donation there, good sir. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, we have a lot of familiar faces and new faces, so it's good to see everyone. We've got the legendary Wooter. We've got Evan, Dynamic Range Productions, and DJ Sucker Trash. Good to see you, man. Valentine Films, excited to make one of these finally, making a bunch of content. Nice, love it. Nico, Vladero, sorry if I mispronounced the name. We've got MCO Group and others. So welcome everybody. Let's go ahead and jump in. What I mean by dump is getting rid of the AirPods. I only use them to monitor the audio at the very beginning, the music that you guys heard at the top of the show, so I know when I'm about to be on. It's all automated, so I need to make sure I'm paying attention to when the show actually starts, because it's just going to cut to me, so I have to be ready. Let's see. Any questions? All right, question from Neon. How might your setup change if you had used Microsoft Teams meeting over streaming? I run a lot of meetings and want to improve the lackluster experience. I mean, you could take this entire setup and it's just a US. At the end of the day, all of this madness goes down to a single USB-C cable that goes into my MacBook, and I can use this for meetings, Zoom calls, really anything. So yeah, there's a link in the description of this video where I talk about a very similar setup, kind of my previous setup before I switched to this space. And that covers the general guts of how this all works. So I have a teleprompter. Could I add another camera angle? I'm gonna have to do that sometime, add my phone so I can show you guys kind of behind the scenes as we talk about this stuff. But yeah, check out the video in the description. That'll really help you figure that stuff out. Amaran 60X or 100D or different light recommendation for short filmmaking. I love the 100D. I think it's it's kind of the new 120D. It's really bright, and for $200, you're just not going to beat it. And enjoyed the $3,000 video setup. Thoughts on doing a video reviewing, reacting to user-submitted small room studio setups. Interesting idea. Probably won't do it, but that could be a good live streaming topic. Playback on the Hyper Day deck. Not sure what you mean there. Minecraft. I've been getting pretty flirty with Super 35. Yep, I am so excited for those FX30s to hit the market. And it says they're going to be shipping at the end of the month. So I think the 24th. So we'll see. All right, Ben's Watch Club. Good to see you, Sir Ben. Thoughts on Cine style for Canon lower-end cameras. Does it actually magically improve dynamic range? I haven't tested that since it was the only option, so I really don't know. If it was me, though, in 2022, honestly, at all costs, I would avoid non-log cameras. So that's a big deal for me these days. So that Canon R7, that's what's so great about it, is we now have an affordable, air quotes, camera with C-Log. That's kind of the new threshold for me. Hopefully Sony comes out with some 10-bit cameras, but on the very budget end, probably a Sony ZV-10 or A6400 is kind of the budget. It's not 10-bit, but it'll get you by, and it's better than, cameras that don't have log. Then it's going to be the R7 is kind of the new $1,500, starting point. Does the G cut for the GH5 fix the GH6? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't have one to test anymore, so I don't know, but you could reach out to whoever sells them these days. Image looks so good. Thank you. Appreciate that. What's going on, Lewis? I'm doing well. Thank you, guys. Editing while I hear you stream. Sweet. Sam Holland, what's going on, brother? Do you run your own production company? Not anymore. I mean, this is kind of a production company, right? Making videos every week, or trying to make videos every week. But yeah, I don't do a production outside of this pretty much anymore. Thank you, Dual Exchange. Good to see ya. Watch your last video. It was amazing. My question is, what microphone will be an upgrade over the Rode that you showed there? So, great question. I would say the next step up is going to be the Rode VideoMic NTG. So that's going to give you a little more when it comes to control. There's a lot of settings on the camera, or excuse me, on the microphone, so you don't have to mess with software. And it's going to sound a little better. So that's probably the next upgrade that I would consider. I'll close that. And then if you want to go up from there and you don't care about on-camera microphones as a category, then you can move into just strictly shotgun microphones. And I've done a video reviewing a ton of microphones and comparing them all in one massive showdown. All right, what do we got? Watching from Germany. Thank you for tuning in. And India, nice. Okay, here's an interesting question. Sony 24mm G Master or 20-1.8 G, which one would you take? Plus, do you think if one already have Tamron 17 to 28 2.8, is then any of the above necessary? I mean, I love having a faster lens. So if you can swing at the 24 G Master, really nice. 20mm 1.8 is fantastic as well, and it's going to save you some money, I believe, by a decent amount. So I would probably go for the 20 if it was me. I love expensive lenses like the next guy, but if I can get 90% of the output for 15% or 20, 50% of the input, I'm always going to take that route because that frees up capital to go on vacation with my family or buy another lens or two. So that's probably what I would go for. Great question. Ben, back another question. We got best places to find editable animations, graphics to drop into editors like Premiere. Need some cool effects, but I'm After Effects illiterate. So I use Motion VFX, I think is the website. Man, I didn't know I would miss having screen sharing so badly. Motion, I think it's VFX.com. Let me check before I say anything. Yeah, motionvfx.com. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to try this for the first time. I'm going to try sharing my screen. Update audio. Oh dear, we'll install that later. All right, can you guys see my screen okay? Let me know if you see my computer screen or not. But this is the place that I get pretty much all of my plugins for Final Cut. Now, they do have stuff for other, NLEs and software. But what I like about using one company like this, because there's like 50 of these different companies out there, but these guys are some of the best. And I like having all from one company, so I have one single plugin or one little add-on I have to install, and then from there I'm good to go. I don't have to mess around with having like 50 different little, installers installed on my machine. So let me see if I can get out of this. Oh boy, this is embarrassing. There we go. All right, that wasn't too smooth, but hopefully that worked. Let me see if you even saw that. I don't have the stream. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's working. Good. All right. What else do we have question-wise? So that was Ben's. Cool, Mike. Where'd you get it? I made it, and you can make one or buy one in a couple days. And check out one of my recent videos. You'll see it. It's a DIY, fake SM7B, essentially. Okay, so we covered that. Cool. Question from Valentine Films. We started doing a podcast on our Unreal Engine platform Passage, and I'm trying to decide if our podcast needs higher production value. Cool. Well, if you want to go higher, right? I know the last stream was basically FX30 versus the world, but I'm interested in the S5 for a while, and I'm wondering if you think the camera is a good workhorse. So I would say, Dylan, that if you are okay with not good autofocus, that the S5 is gold. I love that camera. It's, first of all, it's pretty affordable for a full frame camera. The autofocus is pretty bad though. So if autofocus means a lot to you, look elsewhere. And if you want to learn more about, or talk more about the FX30 again, the stream after this one, which I'll drop a link to, we're going to talk about crop sensors in depth, all these new crop sensors that have come out. Have you tried live streaming on the R7? I have not reached films, but I'd imagine it would work pretty good. I don't actually have it right here, but I've just been using the A7 IV. Don't see how the R7 would be a problem at all. No overheating. It's a good time. Oh, I will say, however, one thing I did not include in my review of the R7 that is a big naughty by Canon is, I believe, the HDMI output on that camera. It can be clean HDMI, high quality clean HDMI, but then you cannot record internally, or everything's over HDMI and you don't see anything on the back of the screen. So that is one naughty that I did not talk about in that video. So that is a bummer. But for live streaming, it'd be fine. If you're not recording on the camera, you just send a clean signal out and you're good to go. What else we got here? Great questions, guys. Great questions. Add DSLR video shooter for product B-roll whiskey bottles. What lens would you recommend for the Sony FX3? It really depends on, how are you filming that? Is it just on a table and you're really close to it? Or are you farther away? Is it a top down? For me, I find myself using the Tamron 28-70 for all my B-roll pretty much because it's just so easy. And then recently I've been using a lot of vintage lenses. If you look at my R7 review, there's a lot of, you'll see it. It doesn't look sharp. I love it though. It's like all the crazy bokeh and like issues with these old lenses. I just love the look. Should I do a webcam footage for the Unreal stuff if dope? Whatever works, man. If the content's good, it doesn't really matter. And if you're mainly filming your screen, doesn't really matter. But yeah, a little setup where you just have a camera and like a single light could get the job done. Or if you're just going to have a small circle of your head in the corner, a webcam will get the job done. Microsoft Teams also has NDI out. Make sure to take in sources through your stream guests. Okay, good to know, William. I'm not a big Microsoft Teams guy, but I know that's like most of the world these days in the corporate world. Question, considering the AMRAM 100X or 200X, I wonder if the 100X is bright enough to compete with indoor sunlight, or does it really work in darker rooms? That is a good question, Dan. I mean, if you have, like, let's say there's a window directly behind me. This whole wall is a window and the sun is firing in. No way it's going to compete with that. But if you've got splashes of light coming through, or maybe a small portion of a window in your shot, I think it'll be okay. But I haven't personally used the 100X. Just letting you know, it's going to not be as bright as the 100D. Hello, hello. Sony A7S III or FX3, which one would you prefer? I think is what you meant to say. I would go A7S unless you need the XLR. I have an A7S. It's cheaper, and I don't use the XLR on that particular camera. So there, it's a GH5. Good choice. Okay, good choice in 2022. Yes, I think the GH5 is still great if you're okay with not having good autofocus and a camera that isn't super good at low light. I mentioned earlier True Time. I don't know about the Gorilla G Cup. Question, follow up to Carlson's question. Seen any matching of the 100D against Amarans like the 200D? I'm looking for a second affordable light and needing to match. Check out my review of those lights, because I did review the 100D and 200D. I feel like the color was pretty close. The difference is the sound, and of course the output on the 100D is ridiculous. So check out that video, and hopefully I in that video have the solution for you. Okay, we got another question here from Florian. Looking to buy my first full frame, not first camera in general, and I have no idea what to buy. I have a budget of about $3,000, body only, and need something that shoots video and photos. Thanks. Right now, I'm going to go A7 IV. Only downside is rolling shutter. So if you are going to be whipping your camera all over the place like a crazy person, it might not be your best bet. Otherwise, that camera is such a great hybrid. That little switch where you can, with your thumb, switch between photo and video, just dynamite. Really, really dig that camera. Pretty much my favorite camera right now. It's what I'm using right now, and I'm very much considering purchasing another one and selling my A7S. All right, best lenses for low light, a fast one. Good question. Knee-jerk reaction, FX30R7, FX30 for sure. It's only a couple $100 more. Going to give you a ton of bang for buck, and lens options because, you know, Canon's locking off the RF mount, so you can't do things like grab an Sigma, 16-1.4 or 30-1.4 for almost nothing. Not almost nothing, but affordable. That's pretty sweet. Let's see. What do you recommend as a mobile multi-input audio capture device for music? Situation would be a pop-up, tiny, desk-inspired minimalist capture setup with a couple of shotgun microphones. Interesting question. I mean, I love sound devices, but if you're going to have, depending on the number of microphones, you could go over to my Gear Focus, which is in the description, where I sell all of my used gear. And there we're selling a Zoom, is it the H8? It has 6 XLR inputs, and then a bunch of 3.5 millimeter input options as well. So if you just want a billion inputs that you can route, and it has a nice little screen and all that stuff, a recorder / input device, check that out. That has a lot. But really any of those, Zoom, Tascam recorders are going to work well. I believe Tascam, or no, is it Zoom? Has a really cute, it's kind of designed for podcasters, 3 XLR inputs, 4 inputs with a single output that you could run to a camera or a switcher. And I don't remember what that's called. I can look it up real quick here. Shoot. Let's do this. I'm going to move this window over here. We're going to click this. Hit cancel there. We're going to go to B&H Photo Video. Zoom Mixer. Here's a cover for it. Zoom PodTrack P4. There it is. $150 is on sale right now. And, oh, is it not XLR? Let's see. Oh, it is. Okay, there's your 4 XLR inputs. Can you guys see that okay? Looks like it. Let me zoom in a little bit. 4 XLR inputs. You got these nice knobs on the top. Mute buttons, that's one thing that's missing from so many devices is stinking mute buttons. Why is it so hard to put mute buttons on stuff? Anyway, you got a nice little screen here. Looks like you've got like an audio switcher or something. So, yeah, that's probably what I would recommend. You could power it over USB, which would be great for your little mobile setup. And hopefully that helps you out. Let me switch back over here, close this window, and let's see what else we got here. Good questions, good questions. What are you using to run the chat message pop-ups? It is Ecamm. Link is in the description if you want to learn more about that software. And I love it. It's Mac OS only. That's the only downside. Can you teach me to look as good as you, bald? It's, you know, some things are just born with, and I wish this on nobody. So it looks like you have a head of hair there, according to that thumbnail there. So I think you should be good, man. And I love that quote from, is it Patrick Stewart, who essentially, he did a video, or if you Google it, I'm sure you'll find it, where he essentially was like, and I agree, hates it when people with a good head of hair shave their head, because like that's our territory, right? That's our turf. We have no choice. So grow your hair if you can, and leave the baldness to us who have no option. Ben's Watch Club, recommendation monitor for both content creation and gaming, looking for brightness, color accuracy, high refresh rate. Ooh, that's a really tough one. Linus Tech Tips is the channel you're going to want to check out. I am in the Mac ecosystem or Apple ecosystem, so I use this LG 5K 27-inch. But at home, I have a 165 hertz for gaming. It's hard to find both. It's really hard to get both. But I believe some of the new stuff that Linus is talking about is probably your best bet. Man, your voice and cadence is exactly what they tuned their audio captions for. I don't know what that means. Auto captions are on right now for you, and that works? That's pretty wild. Any good clip-in filters? Are there any good clip-in filters? You mean like stuff that clips on the microphone? Let me know. Hello from France. Good to see you, Adrian. And Guatemala. Wow. All over the place. Brazil. My goodness. Question from Brazil. Ricardo. What are your thoughts on the Atem Zato Connect, or the whole Connect line? The Connects have been out of stock here in the States forever, but I really want to try them because I'm trying to switch to an all ProRes workflow for myself. I've heard good things, so I really can't speak beyond that because I haven't tried it, but I've heard really good things. So sorry I couldn't help you out there more. Any thoughts on the 20 to 42.8 coming out? Is that the crop? And is that E-mount? I don't know much about that. Jack, hey, love your videos. Was wondering if you had any advice on how I should price one-day shoot and edit one person of about a 1 minute as a fairly new filmmaker. Okay, so there's an old stream on my channel that I did with a good friend of mine named Corbin Tyson. We talked about pricing pretty in depth there. We go through examples, so I would definitely check that out if you're new to all of this. Yeah, I'm gonna say go watch that stream because it's a huge question and a lot of variables. So we kind of break all that down there. So I would start with that. I think we even called it like how to charge, how much to charge, or business or something. But yeah. Samantha spoke about FX30 yet. What are some good affordable lenses for that camera? Really think it'll be my next camera. All right, let's do it. Let's talk about lenses, shall we, for the FX30, because I think that would help a lot of people out, and Sony folks in general. So let's do this. Move this over here. I'm going to click on this. And let me know if you guys can see this all right. So we're back on B&H. We're going to search for, let me reset my zoom here. The first thing that came to mind when I saw those cameras were the prime lenses that were available. So if you go Sigma, E-mount, and B&H I love because of the way they organize things. So if we zoom in here, oh, that might not work. Let's do this. Zoom in a little bit, make this a little easier to read. I'm going to scroll down. We're going to go to lens coverage. I'm going to choose APS-C. And all I searched was Sigma E-mount. And these are the lenses that I originally thought of. So we've got a 16mm f1.4 for under $400, like $374. That's amazing for a 16-1.4. And what else do we have? This I haven't seen or tried, but the 18-50, that's a pretty sweet setup with the 2.8. Here's the 30-1.4, even cheaper, $264. And then we've got the 56 at $400. So I would say these first two, the 16 and the 30, the zoom looks pretty interesting too. Those are going to be amazing on that camera. So from there, let's go to Tamron E-mount. Same thing. I'm going to type in Tamron. I'm going to search or scroll down. Where are you? Did I miss it? Why am I struggling to find the... Oh, it's right here. It's already open. APS-C lenses. I'm going to select that. And then at the top, should be the top here, or these three here, we've got the Tamron 11-20 2.8. So that's going to be like a 16-35 for $650. A nice zoom f2.8. Very, very nice. And then this one is one I'm ordering. So it's the 17-70 2.8. So this is essentially a 24-70 for just under $800 or $750. And that's going to be a perfect kind of medium zoom range. So Samantha, if I were you and you have enough coin, I would get the zoom lens and I would get the 16-1.4 here from Sigma. Those two are going to be a baller first combination. And then if you have more capital, the 30mm and maybe this lens, the 11-20, is going to give you a fantastic setup when it comes to, you know, using these cameras. By the way, oh, interesting. I just noticed that there's a little box of me probably covering up a lot of that. So I apologize. Well, I'll get all that dialed in one of these days as we move forward with all of this stuff, all this streaming times. All right, what do we got? Wow, that was a terrible sentence. Where did I leave things off? So that was Samantha's question. Should I invest in lenses for my GH5 or my S5? I'm going to say no, Adrian, until I wouldn't. All right. Unless you're really into one of the systems. Like I was into the Micro Four Thirds system for, good grief, 6 years. So I had a bunch of their lenses and that worked great. I would say unless you're really into a system, I'm going to say don't get Panasonic or Lumix lenses at all until they give us good autofocus. So get Canon glass, adapt it, because Canon glass you can adapt to all kinds of other stuff. So that'd be my thing. I'd probably stick with manual lenses. Maybe have one, 24-70 f4 or something like that, just as a way to use manual one touch focus. But I'm going to say avoid that until they do that, because you can get much better lenses that are more versatile. And if you're not going to have good autofocus, might as well get some really lovely manual focus lenses, right? That's my opinion, at least. All right, what do we got here? How do I say your name there? Aparicio? I'm awful with pronouncing really anything, no matter how simple it is. I have a Sony a6400 currently in a live setup, thinking of upgrading to the a7S III. Is it a good idea recording classes and live streams? You could. I would say go for the a7 IV. That's what I'm using right now. Same full frame, but you're gonna have a much sharper image. Unless you need to have the camera set to like 12,800 ISO, I would probably go with the a7 IV. It's still going to be a massive upgrade from the a6400. On the FX30, now that that's available, that's a great budget option as well. Okay, good. Everyone can see the screen. All right, we got Will with an audio question. Just ordered a Sennheiser MKE 600. I'm planning to put it on a mobile boom arm hooked directly into Zoom F2. Love it, dude. Super great idea. Oh. Okay, so anything I should be worried about, or is that a decent setup? Sorry, I just thought of what you might be worried about. So I'm trying to remember, but I believe the MKE 600 is a phantom powered microphone, right? MKE 600. Or does that also give you the option to add batteries? Let us look. Okay, it looks like that. I mean, that looks like, yeah. Okay, so you're good. You're good. I think you might be okay. The one thing I don't know about that particular microphone, I may have covered that. I can't believe I don't even remember, but I may have covered that in my shotgun mic, video where I compared a ton of them, is how sensitive that microphone is. If it's not super sensitive, your Zoom F2 might not have enough oomph to be able to record that. So that's the one thing you might want to listen to. Definitely get the setup. I think you should be okay there. But that's the only thing that might be an issue. But at first glance, I think you're okay. Definitely get a good cable too. Don't use some cheapo XLR to 3.5. Get something reputable, and you should be dandy. Am I a fan of mist filters, and would I recommend DIY hairspray method before purchasing one? No, I wouldn't recommend spraying anything on anything. I'm gonna say, okay, so Black Pro Mist, I used one for years. If you go back, I don't know, 2 years from ago, you'll probably see one on my videos. But because of GX Ace, who everyone should just search in YouTube, GXACE camera review or something like that, he turned me on to Glimmer Glass, which is actually what I'm using right now. So this is a Glimmer Glass 1 filter on my camera. And what I like about it is you still get that like highlight little bloomy action, but it's not hazy across the entire image. The Black Pro Mists are super thick and like everything gets blown out. So this light right here would have a glow, like huge glow over here, but because I'm using the Glimmer, it's way more chilled out. So definitely check out Glimmer Glass. Watch some videos. There's some videos of people comparing all that stuff, which is great. And I need to turn off notifications because things are noisy here. Let's go to focus. There we go. Okay. What else do we have here? AJ. Oh, I'm getting behind, folks. Oh, no, we already did that one. I'm going to have to speed up. How do you compare the GH5S quality over the full-frame systems like Canon and Sony? Is it worth upgrading? Yes, I would say pretty much it's worth upgrading now. There's so many great full-frame options. Am I using a gear tree from Ulanzi? Yes, that's what this is. And I should get a video out on their stuff because it's pretty wild. In regards to the GH6, is there any reduction in image quality, focal reducer? Yeah, a little bit, but not too much. And you can do side-by-sides. What up, fellow filmmaker? You've been doing YouTube for a while now. When you get to a point where you feel like being done, ooh, this is getting good. What do you tell yourself or do to keep doing it when you think you'll retire? When do you think you'll retire? Man, fellow filmmaker, I have literally gone to therapy recently over this. So I would say you and others who might be struggling with this, stay tuned. I'm hoping to have a buddy of mine on a stream to talk about this stuff. And even though most of you are maybe not, I don't know how many of you are YouTubers, but this really is a creative thing, right? But YouTube is its own lane of burnout. And I don't care how, good you are at avoiding burnout, it's going to happen. So fellow filmmaker, I can't recall how long you've been on YouTube, but it's been a little while now. And I want to say, so I've been doing this for 12 years, and there was a period of time recently, it's getting better, but there's a period of time recently where I wanted nothing to do with making videos. And to this day, I'm kind of done with social media. I mean, I really enjoy this, and that's why I've been doing it more frequently, is you guys, it's been great hanging out with you guys, even though it's kind of this weird, I'm talking, you're reading or typing in the comments. It feels good to interact with people and just help people figure stuff out. But making videos and social media and making thumbnails and trying to come up with a title, I'm really tired of that. So, so to get to your question, when you get to the point when you feel like being done, what do you tell yourself to keep going and keep doing it? I'm going to first say, I don't necessarily think you should keep doing it. If you're absolutely miserable, and let's say this goes on and on and on and on, it might be time to make a change. You know, I'm not above. I actually like quitting, and what I mean by that is when something is damaging or just unhealthy, even though it's seemingly a good thing, you should quit doing that. You know, like I don't think everyone should go to college. I think college is really bad for some people. So if it's just killing you, maybe you need to take a break. I don't care what people say about the algorithm or whatever. Maybe it's time to just step away, take a month off, take 3 weeks off, whatever it is. I would also say helping with boundaries are really, really good. So I don't know what your status is with life. If you're, you know, in a relationship, married, kids, whatever. But to me, it really doesn't matter even if you're single and have all the time in the world to work 9 to 5 days a week. Try that for a while. That really does help make sure that when you're working, it's productive work time that you're enjoying, and the time away kind of helps recharge. And those two things, like yin and yang, kind of balancing things out. So I don't think you should necessarily tell yourself certain things to just push through. That said, there are often seasons. So I'm coming out of a long run of just really not wanting to do this. But the one thing that I've held on to is you guys. And the reason I started this channel was when I've gone through something and figured something out and painfully, you know, researched and messed a lot of stuff and finally arrived at the solution, it kills me to know that there's other people out there who are doing the same pain, going through the same pain to figure something out. So I just want to connect what I've figured out to other people who need that information. Like nothing floats my boat more than helping people figure things out. So that's why I've kept doing it is I've kind of like, you know what, let's just stop doing reviews. Let's stop focusing on numbers. I don't care about thumbnails and I don't care about titles anymore. Let's just make videos that help people. And the last video was kind of the first one in a while that's been like, you know what, let's just, you know, stop talking about like a review of something for a second. So I know I'm spending a lot of time on this comment, but it's a big deal, and you know, it's going to apply to people that aren't no matter what you're doing in life. If you're a salesperson, a marketing person, if you run your own business, if you are a filmmaker, a wedding filmmaker, there comes the time where you need to figure out if you're going to keep doing this or not. Is it bad for you? And then if you are, you know, how do you kind of reconnect? So a fellow filmmaker, I would get down to, why are you doing this? Is it for money? Because you liked it once and you hate it now? Or to help people? And then just hang on to whatever that is. And that's what I've done. But I totally get where you're coming from. There's a lot of times I catch myself recently just anything. I'll clean my desk. I'll do all this stuff, anything but make a video, just because I'm over it. So with that out of the way, I'm going to jump ahead here. I feel like I saw some super chats that I missed. There they are. So I'm going to get down to those and then we'll pick up maybe there. We're almost out of time, but we're going to keep rocking on here. All right. Dadgummit, Matt Gray, there he is again. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, sir, for the constant support. $20. And let's see. Anything else down here? Oh, my goodness. I missed so many comments, guys. All right. Audio Hotline, Super Chat, $10 donation. Just want to say thanks for the Husky Tool Bench recommendation a while back. It's been a perfect desk for me. Thanks, man. I love those things. There's one right here. I found one of the drawers. Oh, love those things. Love them. Let's see. Okay, that was it for Super Chats. So, what do we got here for time? 4:43. So we're going to go for a little while longer. Let's scroll back up, try to find that spot where I left off. I'm going to try to keep going here. Is it a good idea to buy a 21.4 art for my Canon? Or use the 35 4K mode? 24:1 art for my Canon EOS R and use it in 35. I see what you mean. I mean, if you're using the R, I would probably lean toward EFS lenses if you're shooting exclusively in 4K. But you know, the 21.4 would still work. Appreciate your gear under videos. I find that I spend lots of money. Always appreciate. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of those. Maybe I'll pull that out of the bag. Any reduction? Yep, we talked about that. Ecamm's amazing. Yes, it is. London in the house. What's up? I love your videos. Was wondering if you had any advice about how I should price. Oh, we did that one. Why am I backwards? Thoughts on the Zoom U22, considering to use it as my interface and connect to my S5. First of all, good to see you post color gear. I have not used the U22, so I really can't speak to that. What desk would you recommend for a desk within a smaller room? Shoot. If you look at my video where I think it's a desk video set up under $2,000, in that video I talk about a desk that I still use to this day and is pretty affordable. It's not too large. You can always swap out the tops. Yeah, I'd probably recommend one of those smaller guys. Otherwise, if you don't care about sit stand, you know, IKEA, you can get all kinds of different tops. Thoughts on the XT4 for filmmaking? I don't have a video on the or do I have a video on the XT4? I have one on the XT3, I think. No, I have one on the XT4. It's fine. I'm not wild about that camera for a couple reasons, which I believe I get into in the review. But I probably look at other things these days, if I'm honest. Oh, there you go. Whoever was asking about Connect products, Kevin Lee's got you covered. What are your thoughts on the Panasonic G7? Great content. Thank you very much. Love it. Great little camera. I got a job as a filmmaker for a brand which produce and film content worldwide, different platforms, but they still editing on hard drive. Suggestions for massive storage. Yes. So I'm going to say, all right. Oh, we don't have the time for that. So, well, first of all, let me know if you're on a Mac, Windows, or Mac OS or Windows. Getting a large RAID is a good idea. Building your own NAS or building a server is a great idea. So network attached storage. If you have a bunch of people in the same building, that's what we do. So everything's connected over 10 gigabit Ethernet. Me and my editor can access the same Mac Mini. So we have a Mac Mini Pro in a closet connected to a bunch of hard drives. And we use OWC, I think it's 8 bays. We have 2 of those puppies filled with, I think, 8 or 10 terabyte drives set up in a RAID 5 or 6. And that's what we use. So we can both access it and edit really fast. It's 500 to 800 megabytes a second. Otherwise, network attached storage, or you can build, oh shoot, what is it called? Help me out, guys who do Linuxy stuff. What's that service? TrueNAS. Check out TrueNAS. It's awesome. They have a free software version. You can essentially buy a chassis that has like 24 bays, load it up with hard drives, put TrueNAS on there. Essentially, you're building a PC filled with hard drives. And that's probably the best bang for buck right there. TrueNAS. And I can't remember if there's an E in True, but you'll probably find it. So FX30 we're going to talk about in the next stream after this one over at the C47, and I'll drop a link to that stream here in a little bit. But we're going to talk a lot about the FX30. It's good. We already did that one. Boom, boom, boom. Man, I'm so far behind, guys. Sorry about that. Better mic for the 3. Not sure what you mean. I think manual focus versus auto all depends on what you... Okay. I love it. You guys are in here answering questions. It's the best. Question. I have the A7S II and the Samyang 2040-70. Which gimbal would be the best for that setup? I'm not a gimbal guy, William, so I really can't. Unfortunately, I can't really help you with that. Good way to power the Aperture 60 COB with a pair of f7s for semi-permanent studio work. Well, you can use, I believe it's 12 to 14 volts for that. So any 12 to 14 volt power supply is going to work with those lights. So if you go to Amazon and search for, I would say, let's say 12 volt, 6 amp or 6A power supply, you'll find what you need, I believe, for the 60 COBs. I feel you on social media being a help at arm's length. Yeah. I mean, I love hanging out with people and talking, but the whole grind, like having to do it. And what people don't know a lot is when you make a video, it's when you hit publish, you're not done. There's like half a day's worth of work with all the social media stuff. And yeah. I'd like to go offline. By the way, let me know if you'd like to do any kind of offline training. I've thought about doing like 10, 15 people, you know, we go to the same location and we do a workshop or something like that for a weekend. That would be a lot of fun. I really miss more one-on-one training, or small group training would be a lot of fun. Thank you, DJ Strict. Gotta get some water here. What hard drive system do I use? OWC 8-bay Thunderbolt enclosures connected to a server that we access remotely. Let's see. Currently collecting and reorganizing projects and files from the past few years. Any advice on organizing projects, related content, etc.? Great question, Brandon. Really great question. So the way we do it is we have the vault. So we have current projects, stuff we're working on. Then we have the vault, which in the vault, everything's organized by year. And then once you go into a year, so let's say we go back to 2014, then videos all have an ID, a number attached to them, and it's a folder, right? So instead of just having the client name or the project name, we have the year. So if it's 2014, it'd be 14, and then the next number is the project of that year. So if it was the first project we worked on, the video ID would be 1401 as an example. Then within that folder, we have the same folder structure for every single project. I try to keep it down to like 7 or less folders. That includes compressions, so like the final deliverables, exports, Final Cut, and within Final Cut, we have all our Final Cut files, graphics, original documents. So anytime we're sent something from a client or a brand or something, the second I get that PDF, it goes in there. So if we lose it or something, I can always go back to the original files, other, things like that. So that's how I organize it. There's a ton of different ways to do that, using tools like Post Haste or software that can automatically generate those, and you can create them and hit one button and boom, every time you start a new project, it just spits out your files for you. Is really helpful. But that's a fantastic question. Sarah, hey Caleb, any tips on learning and mastering lighting? The easiest answer to that, Sarah, is start watching Wandering DP. Search him on YouTube. Just start watching his videos. You're going to die and go to heaven. Tons of great stuff. Okay. And with that, we'll keep going. Yeah, we're going to cut it a little closer. I've got a QNAP and don't recommend it. Agreed, Jordan. I've used QNAPs and it wasn't fun. Unraid is another option. Lewis, I wouldn't say Unraid is better than TrueNAS. There's differences. You can research that on YouTube. TrueNAS is going to be faster and probably more reliable if you set it up right, but it'll probably cost you more too. How do I get started as a screenwriter before eventually becoming a filmmaker for Hollywood? I don't know, Jeffrey. I've never done screenwriting. Just got my R7, slapped the Sigma 18 to 35 on it, and it looks great. Only problem is my 2010 MacBook can't read C files. Time to update to an M1. And you think probably, Bill? You could also transcode. So yeah, try transcoding that. Not really into the Pocket 4K these days. Good zoom lens. Panasonic makes one that would work for that. Or you could use a speed booster and a 18 to 35. Yes, Lewis. Again, pros and cons. Different systems, different pros and cons to both. But I think overall for video editing, 4K collaboratively, I'm going to go with TrueNAS. That's where I'm at. But yes, Unraid, 100%. You can just keep slapping drives at it. Ooh, would you rather Fuji 50E2 or Sigma 56? Probably Fuji, just because Fujifilm cameras, I haven't tried them, so don't quote me on this, but I feel like they work better than third parties. When do I think? I have no idea. I hope soon. With the Panasonic lenses. People love workshops. Awesome. Good to know. Good to know. It would probably be the Chicagoland area here in the Midwest. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we got a super chat here from Michael. $20 donation. Is it up to camera reviewers to promote proper filmmaking techniques, like learning manual focus, because of your massive influence on younger filmmakers? I believe huge emphasis on autofocus is crippling them. I don't think so, Michael. I just think, well, I mean, I love manual focus lenses. And yeah, it's a skill for sure that people are definitely going to lose out on. But you could say the same from going from film to digital. I'm always wary of forcing an older way of doing things onto people, because I think someday manual focus, as much of an art as it is, will be different. And it's not really my job at all. I'm just telling you what's, every time I talk about a camera's specs, I always I place emphasis on, if autofocus means a lot to you, go with this camera. If it doesn't, great, go with this. So it's not my job to spread, the good, or try to like force people or tell people, what is important to learn. Or when it comes to a camera tech, I'm just helping you figure out if it's going to be good for you and what matters to you. I'm not going to try to, convince you on shooting at 24 frames per second or using manual focus, although you should shoot at 24 frames per second. And on that note, let's go ahead and wrap this. Another donation from Lior. I hope I didn't ruin that. Do you have any advice on someone who's trying to get into YouTube video recordings with the Nikon 3200? The lack of external monitoring while recording is very frustrating. I mean, I would look at a different camera if I were you. Maybe sell that one and get something else. I don't know what your budget is, but something like the R7 that I just talked about is great. Or Nikon's newer cameras, a lot of good autofocus there, and much better HDMI outputs. So if you want better specs to be able to, like you said, externally record, then something like, I don't know, what do they have these days? Z6, Z5s, Z30s, 50s, 60s, something like that. You'll be able to find something that's going to do a lot better job for you. And with that, boys and girls, I'm going to head over to another stream. You're welcome to join me. I would love it if you join me, actually, because we're going to be talking about all things Super 35 when it comes to mirrorless cameras. So if you want to learn more about the FX30, Canon, and others, right over here, I just dropped the link in the chat. That's where we're going. So I hope to see you guys over there. I'm going to drink some water, and we will be live in 3 minutes from right now. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Great questions. Really enjoyed spending time with all of you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And if I don't see you in the next stream, we'll see you next week and in our next video.